And then I thought I was doing the right thing, and it ends up getting me fired. Unbelievable.
A store manager says he followed a shoplifter into a parking lot trying to help police catch him. And for that, he didn't get a reward. He got fired.
He did. Shoplifting is a huge problem in New York State. Let's show you just how big. In 1 year, retailers lost $4.4 billion to theft, and the state lost $176 million in sales tax. And one local store manager lost his job, fired for what he says was trying to protect his employees.
We have our investigative reporters on this story. Chief Investigative Reporter Berkeley Breen is live on Hudson Avenue in Irondequoit where it happened. Berk, start us off. What happened?
All right, Brett. So about a month ago, a shoplifter was hitting that Big Lots behind me at the other side of the plaza. The manager says when the shoplifter tried to leave the store, he took a swing at the assistant manager. So the manager followed the man into the parking lot at a distance, followed him across the parking lot, relaying his location to 911 in the hopes that Irondequoit police would come and find him. The shoplifter got away, and 2 weeks later, the manager got fired.
What I saw was he took a swing, like a punch at her.
That's what Pat Guider says he saw inside the Big Lots store that he used to manage at Irondequoit. And that's why he followed the shoplifter out of the store.
I let people who shoplift leave the store every day. Every day. We just put it in the system that they ask us to do. This was an assault. This wasn't shoplifting. This was an assault.
Despite 20 years with the company and a positive review in March, the company did not see it the way Guider did. And 2 weeks after the incident, Guider says he was called to his district manager's office and fired.
Do you think you did the right thing?
I think I did the right and just thing. The right and just thing.
This is not the first retail store manager fired over a shoplifting incident. It's not even the first Big Lots manager fired over shoplifting. Just Google it and you'll find the story of the manager at the store in California.
I tried to call Big Lots, but there is no phone number to reach the CEO or the communications chief. I emailed the company on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and again Friday morning. I asked, why was Pat Guider fired? What is the company policy? Is following a shoplifter a fireable offense? And what training do managers get for shoplifters? The company has not replied. But this poster in the Big Lots lunchroom says, never leave the store to pursue, detain, or identify a customer. I took this issue to labor lawyer Paul Kienle at the law firm of Underberg and Kessler.
Here a guy goes out to try to help police track down a shoplifter, and
Right.
2 weeks later he gets fired.
So
Does that happen?
yeah, that can happen. It may be a little bit of fault of the lawyers and the way this country is so sue happy. It's the company is likely concerned with liability of any sort of interaction between the perpetrator and the store employees.
So I did not put myself in jeopardy. I did not put any shoppers in jeopardy.
I went with Guider back to his old store. He said he and police found the shopping cart in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, but lost the shoplifter. Police say the assistant manager declined medical care. Now Guider and his wife are trying to figure out how to get health insurance. They still have 2 boys in college, and at 62, Guider's not sure how easy it will be to find another job.
The good thing is we have a huge faith in God, huge faith in God, and everything will work out. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
So here's the poster in the lunchroom at the Big Lots warning them, don't follow shoplifters, don't do anything about shoplifters. One of the things that got Pat into this situation is that he actually followed some of the company rules. He reported what happened and what he did to the office that deals with theft, and 2 weeks later, he was gone. We're live in Irondequoit, Berkeley Breen, News 10, NBC.
Incredible.
It is incredible.
All right, Berk, thank you. What happened to that store manager exemplifies why New York's Retail Workers Union is pushing lawmakers to support a bill that would require training in violence protection.
That's right. And I chatted with Josh Kellerman. He's the director of public policy for New York's retail workers, that union. He explained why so many retailers have zero tolerance policies when it comes to confronting shoplifters.
Once you leave the property, you're no longer protected probably by the insurance plan of the company. You know what I mean? You're now operating as like an individual rather than as a worker. You're outside of the scope of your employment. And so that could put direct legal liability on that person.
Gotcha.
So there are certainly reasons why that policy exists. Again, I still think that this is probably less a problem of, whether this is the right policy or not, and more a problem of just workers need to be adequately trained in how to understand these dynamic and difficult situations.
He says that a poster simply is not enough. He believes Pat's situation makes the case for the need for worker training, and it would give clear parameters for handling situations where workers or customers are at risk.
Shoplifting isn't a victimless crime. For customers, the price of everything goes up to make up for losses. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office has a task force dedicated to busting people who steal. News 10 NBC investigative reporter Jennifer Lukey went on a recent detail with that team. And Jen, it's made more than 200 arrests since it started last year.
Yeah, it has, Brett. The details last for a few days at a time, and the team bounces around to different big retailers, small retailers in big towns and small towns across Monroe County. Shoppers wouldn't even know they're there, but shoplifters will if they leave the store with stolen stuff.
Plainclothes deputies go into a store security office with loss prevention officers to monitor cameras and look for shoplifters. They radio outside when they see someone stealing.
We try to use overwhelming numbers. And some people will see us on occasion on these details and say, oh, it took 7 of you to stop that person. No, it didn't take 7 of us to stop that person. It took 7 of us to make sure that nobody fought, nobody got hurt, and nobody ran away.
Occasionally, people try to run, but
they'll tell us, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were loss prevention. I'd have stopped if I knew you were the police. So they're under the impression that the store's not going to stop them as long as they don't stop. So they don't.
And truthfully, the impression isn't that far off. Even though the stores are basically begging for help, in most cases, corporate offices insist on strict protocols.
Different stores have different policies. They don't want something very overt, maybe. They want something more covert. They don't want to rest on their properties. If we can take the rest off the property. I mean, they're all running their individual business. So we're working hand in glove with the retailers.
More than 200 shoplifters have been charged as part of these details, but a majority are released with a ticket. And it's not uncommon for them to be rearrested during a different detail. That's why the sheriff's office has now been using what's called a harm plus harm provision in the law to try and hold more of them.
And that allows us to detain and bring someone before a bail application to a judge if they're already out and they're repeating a harm offense, and they consider larceny another harm.
The sheriff says if he can connect them with the resources they need while they're being held, drug and alcohol counseling, food or housing assistance, the cycle can be broken.
If we can shut down millions of dollars of larcenies, that's millions of dollars of inflation we're all not paying for. We're all paying for that. And the point I'm trying to get through my legislators is it's the poorest people in our community that are really paying for it. By our blessings, we can afford maybe that inflation rate of $4 or $5 every time we go to Home Depot or to Target. Some people in fixed income, some people cannot afford that. And yet we're all making them pay for criminal activity that we can control pretty easy.
Looks like the sheriff is going to have to lean on that harm plus harm provision for the foreseeable future. While he was pushing the legislature for changes, this is the last day of the session in Albany, and it doesn't look like any major criminal justice changes are on the horizon. Brett.
All right, Jen, thank you.